Amara's day always started before the sun came up. While the rest of the house was still quiet, she was already in the kitchen, preparing breakfast, cleaning up, and getting everything ready for the day. No one asked her to wake up that early anymore. It had just become expected. By morning, she was already at the family shop, working non-stop, dealing with customers, organizing stock, handling money. Everything ran through her hands. If something went wrong, it was her fault. Things went right, no one noticed. She didn't have a title, she didn't have a break, and most of all, she didn't have a salary. After closing the shop, her work didn't end. At home, there were dishes waiting, laundry piled up, and her sister's unfinished tasks dumped on her bed like they belonged there. "Amara will handle it," they always said. And she did. Every single time. Sometimes she would quietly ask her mother, "Can I get paid too?" Her mother would smile like it was a silly question and say, "You're helping the family." Helping. That word stayed in Amara's mind for a long time, because helping didn't feel like this. Helping didn't mean being tired all the time. Helping didn't mean having no life, no money, no choices. Helping didn't mean feeling invisible in your own home. But the truth was simple and painful. Amara wasn't helping the family. She was working for them, for free. In the same house where Amara was always busy, Lindio lived a completely different life. While Amara rushed from one task to another, Lindio took her time waking up, scrolling through her phone, deciding what to wear like the day was hers to enjoy. Lindio got everything without even asking twice. New clothes every few weeks. Expensive shoes. Makeup. Little treats that somehow always turned into big shopping bags. And when she got bored, there was always a trip planned. Beach vacations, weekend getaways. Pictures posted online with captions about living her best life. Amara would sometimes see those pictures while standing behind the shop counter, tired, sweaty, and still working. It felt like they were living in two different worlds, even though they shared the same roof. The hardest part wasn't just the difference. It was the way everyone acted like it was normal. "Look at Lindio," her mother would say proudly. "She knows how to enjoy life." And then, almost in the same breath, "Amara, why are you so slow? There's still work to do." Nothing Amara did was ever enough. She worked all day, it was expected. If she got tired, she was lazy. If she stayed quiet, she was cold. If she spoke up, she was ungrateful. Meanwhile, Lindio could do nothing all day and still be praised. Sometimes, Lindio would casually hand her things like it was nothing. "Can you iron this for me?" Or, "I don't feel like going to the shop today, you cover for me." And Amara would nod, even when her body was already exhausted, because saying no never felt like an option. Little by little, something inside Amara started to break. She stopped asking for things. Stopped expecting appreciation. Stopped believing she deserved the same life. It wasn't just about money or freedom anymore. It was about feeling like she mattered. And in that house, she didn't. She wasn't the daughter they celebrated. She wasn't the one they showed off. She was just the one who kept everything running quietly in the background, while someone else got all the credit. It didn't happen suddenly. It built up slowly, day after day, until Amara's body just couldn't take it anymore. That morning felt like every other morning. She woke up tired, but she still got out of bed. She made breakfast, cleaned the kitchen, and rushed to open the shop on time. Her head felt heavy, her body weak, but she ignored it like she always did. "Just get through the day," she whispered to herself. By afternoon, everything started to blur. The voices of customers sounded distant. The lights felt too bright. Her hands were shaking as she tried to count money. She hadn't eaten properly, hadn't rested, hadn't stopped. And then her body gave up. Right there, in the middle of the shop, Amara collapsed. The next thing she remembered was waking up in a hospital bed. The room smelled like medicine, and everything felt too quiet. For a moment, she didn't even understand what had happened. Then she heard the doctor's voice. "She's overworked," he said firmly. "Her body is exhausted. This didn't happen overnight. She needs rest, proper care, less stress." Amara didn't say anything. She just stared at the ceiling. For the first time, someone had said it out loud. Not lazy, not weak, not dramatic, overworked. But when she turned her head slightly, she saw her family standing there, and their reaction hurt more than anything. Her mother sighed, clearly irritated. So now what? The shop is closed because of this. Her father looked annoyed. Checking his phone like this was just an inconvenience. How long will this take? We can't afford to slow down. Even Lindau just stood there, arms crossed, looking bored. She always makes things so dramatic. No one asked her if she was okay. No one held her hand. No one said, "You did too much. Rest." Instead, it felt like she had done something wrong, just by collapsing. And in that moment, lying there, weak and silent, something inside Amara finally broke. Not loudly. Not in a way anyone could see. But deep inside something shifted. She realized the truth she had been avoiding for so long. No matter how hard she worked, no matter how much she gave, it would never be enough for them. And maybe, it was never about being enough at all. A few days after Amara came back from the hospital, the house felt strange. Not softer, just quieter. She was moving slower now, trying to follow the doctor's advice, but nothing else had really changed. The expectations were still there. The pressure was still there. Just unspoken. That morning, she was sitting in the living room when there was a knock at the door. Her mother called out, "Amara, check who it is." Out of habit, she got up. When she opened the door, a delivery man handed her a medium-sized box. It wasn't anything fancy, just plain packaging. No brand, no logo. Just her name written clearly on top. Amara froze for a second. Name. Not the family name. Not the shop. Just her. She quietly brought the box inside. Everyone's eyes followed her. "Who is it from?" her father asked. She shook her head. "I don't know." Her mother frowned. "Open it." But something about it didn't feel simple. Amara placed the box on the table carefully, like it carried more than just weight. Lindau leaned closer, curious. "Maybe it's something you ordered," she said, half laughing. "Oh wait, you don't even shop." No one laughed, but the tension grew. Amara looked at the label again. There was no clear sender name. Just a small printed address she didn't recognize. Didn't make sense. She never received packages. No one sent her things. She didn't even remember the last time something arrived just for her. "Open it already," her mother said again, this time more impatient. But Amara didn't move. For some reason, her chest felt tight. Like opening that box would change something, and she wasn't ready for it yet. "I'll open it later," she said quietly. Her father frowned. "Why later? What's the big deal?" She didn't answer. She just stepped back, leaving the box on the table. The rest of the day felt different. No one said it out loud, but everyone kept glancing at it. Sat there silent, but heavy with questions. Who sent it? Why now? And why to Amara? Even Lindau, who usually didn't care about anything that didn't involve her, kept looking at it with curiosity. That night the box was still there, untouched, but somehow it felt like the most important thing in the room. And for the first time in a long time, Amara felt like something in her life was about to change. The box stayed on the table all night. No one touched it, but no one stopped thinking about it either. The next morning, the house was unusually quiet. Amara walked into the living room and saw it still sitting there, exactly where she had left it. For a moment she just stood there, staring at it. Her name was still written on top. This time she didn't walk away. Slowly, she pulled out a chair and sat down. Her hands felt slightly shaky as she dragged the box closer. She could feel everyone watching her from a distance, pretending not to be interested, but waiting. Her mother's voice came from behind, softer this time. "Open it." Amara took a deep breath, and finally lifted the lid. Inside it wasn't what she expected. No gift, no clothes, no simple explanation. Just papers. Carefully stacked, old-looking documents tied together. The edges were slightly worn, like they had been stored for years. On top of them there were a few photographs. Amara picked one up. It was a picture of her, but younger. Maybe 5 or 6 years old. She was standing in front of a building she didn't recognize, smiling in a way she hadn't smiled in years. Her heart skipped. "Where did you get that?" Lindau asked, stepping closer now. Amara didn't answer. She kept looking through the photos. There were more of them, different ages, different places. Some had people in them she couldn't clearly remember, faces that felt familiar, but distant. Then she moved to the documents. Her fingers hesitated before opening them. There were official papers inside. Stamp, signatures, numbers, words she didn't fully understand at first glance, but enough to know they were important. Her father stepped forward slightly. "Let me see that." Amara instinctively pulled the papers closer to herself. "No. I'll read it." For the first time, her voice wasn't weak. At the bottom of the box there was one more thing. An envelope, plain, sealed. Her name written on it just like the box. The room felt even more tense now. Amara slowly opened the envelope and pulled out the letter inside. The paper was slightly yellowed, like it had been written a long time ago. She stared at the first line, her breath catching. Whoever sent this knew her, knew things about her, things no one in that room had ever told her. And suddenly the box didn't feel random anymore. It felt like the beginning of a truth that had been hidden from her for a very long time. Amara held the letter tightly, her fingers slightly trembling as her eyes moved across the first few lines. The room was completely silent now. Even the small background noises felt like they had disappeared. She started reading slowly, trying to understand every word. First it didn't make sense. Then it did. Her breath caught. The letter wasn't just explaining something small. It was telling her everything. According to the letter, the family business, the same shop she had been working in every single day, was never meant to belong to her parents. It was legally hers. Amara blinked, thinking she read it wrong. She went back and read the same line again. Still the same. Name. Her ownership. Or rights. Her mind started racing. That didn't make sense. How could it be hers when she never had any control? When she had been treated like nothing more than a worker? But the letter didn't stop there. It explained more. The documents in the box were proof. Legal records, signed years ago, showing that the business had been placed under her name when she was younger. That everything, the shop, the income, the future profits, was supposed to be hers. And then came the part that made her hands go cold. The money she had been earning, all these years, had been taken, diverted, controlled by someone else. Her family. Every long day, every late night, every moment she thought she was helping. It was never just help. She had been working for her own business. And they had been taking everything from her. Amara slowly lowered the letter, her heart pounding so loud she could hear it in her ears. She didn't even realize when tears started forming in her eyes. Not loud tears. Just quiet ones, filled with shock more than pain. The room around her felt different now. She looked up. Her mother avoided her eyes. Her father's face had gone pale. Lindau looked confused, but also uneasy. No one spoke. No one denied it. And that silence said everything. In that moment, Amara felt something shift inside her again, but this time it wasn't breaking. It was waking up. Everything she believed about her life flipped in seconds. She wasn't just the girl who worked for free. She wasn't just the invisible one. She had been the owner all along, and they knew it. That day, everyone expected Amara to react, shout, cry, to demand answers. But she didn't. She folded the letter carefully, placed it back in the envelope, and put everything back inside the box like nothing had happened. Her face was calm, almost too calm. "I'm tired," she said quietly and walked to her room. Her family exchanged looks, confused. This wasn't the reaction they were ready for. But what they didn't understand was this. Amara had already seen enough. That night she didn't sleep much. She kept going over every word in the letter, every document, every memory that suddenly made sense. All those years of working, of being controlled, of being told she had nothing. It wasn't just unfair. It was planned. And for the first time, Amara didn't feel weak. She felt focused. The next morning, she went back to her usual routine like nothing had changed. She opened the shop, helped customers, cleaned, cooked, everything. She played her role perfectly. But inside, she was different. Now she was watching, listening, noticing things she had ignored before. Receipts, cash flow, Conversations her parents thought she wasn't paying attention to. Small details started connecting in her mind like pieces of a puzzle. And quietly, she started collecting proof. Every document she could safely copy, she did. Every number she could write down, she remembered. She didn't rush. She didn't panic. She planned. A few days later, she left the house with a simple excuse. "I have to run an errand," she said. No one questioned her. Why would they? Amara never did anything unexpected. But this time she did. She went to meet a lawyer. His name was A.O. Balagan. Sitting in his office, Amara felt nervous for the first time since reading the letter. Her hands were cold as she placed the documents in front of him. "I think something is wrong," she said softly. O didn't rush. He read everything carefully, his expression slowly changing. When he finally looked up at her, his voice was calm but serious. "You're right," he said. "This isn't just wrong." He paused. "It's illegal." Amara felt her heart beat faster, but this time it wasn't fear. It was clarity. From that day on, everything became real. A.O. started building her case. Legal steps, evidence, strategy. He explained everything to her step by step, making sure she understood her rights and her power. And back at home, nothing changed. Her family laughed, talked, made plans like always, completely unaware that the girl they thought they controlled was quietly preparing to take everything back. That night felt like any other family dinner. The table was full, plates passed around, small, normal conversations filling the room like nothing had ever changed. If someone walked in, they would think this was a happy, normal family. Lindai was the loudest, as always. "I'm telling you, that trip was amazing," she said, scrolling through her phone and showing pictures. "Next time I want to go somewhere even better. Maybe abroad." Their mother smiled proudly. "Of course. You deserve it." Amara sat quietly, her eyes moving from one person to another. Her father joined in, already thinking ahead. "We need to expand the shop soon. Maybe open another branch. Business is growing." Amara almost smiled at that. Growing. She kept listening. They talked about money, plans, investments, things they were going to do next. Like everything belonged to them. Like everything was under their control. No one asked Amara anything. No one noticed how quiet she was. But this time, her silence wasn't weakness. It was awareness. She watched Lindai laugh without a care in the world. She watched her mother agree with everything she said. She watched her father speak with confidence about a future built on something that was never truly his. And for the first time, Amara didn't feel small sitting at that table. She felt separate, like she was no longer part of the same story. Her heart was beating steadily, not fast, not nervous. Just calm. Ready. She placed her spoon down gently. The small sound was enough to make everyone pause for a second. Amara looked up. Her voice when she spoke was soft but clear. "We need to talk." The room went quiet instantly. Lindai frowned slightly. "About what?" Their mother looked confused. "Can it wait? We're eating." Amara shook her head. "No," she said calmly. "It can't." Something in her tone was different this time. Not emotional. Not tired. Serious. Her father slowly leaned back in his chair, studying her face. "What is this about?" Amara held his gaze. For years she had looked down at that table, stayed quiet, stayed in her place. But not anymore. "This family," she said slowly, "and the truth you've been hiding from me." No one moved, no one spoke, and just like that, the normal dinner they were having a moment ago was over. For a few seconds no one said anything. Amara slowly stood up from her chair. Her movements were calm, controlled, like she had already played this moment in her mind many times. Without rushing, she walked out of the dining room. Her mother called after her, confused. "Amara, where are you going?" She didn't answer. A moment later she came back, holding the box. The same box they had all been thinking about. The one no one could ignore anymore. She placed it right in the center of the table. The sound was soft, but it felt loud in the silence. Her father frowned. "What is this supposed to mean?" Amara didn't respond. She opened the box slowly and started taking things out. One by one, she spread the documents across the table. Old papers, legal files, financial records, proof. Her mother's face started to change. "Amara, what are you doing?" Still Amara said nothing. Then she picked up the letter and placed it in front of her father. "You should read this," she said quietly. His hands didn't move. No one wanted to touch it. Before anyone could say anything else, there was a knock on the door. Everyone turned. Amara looked toward the entrance and said, "Come in." The door opened. A man walked inside, calm and professional. "My name is A.O. Balagan," he said. "I'm Amara's lawyer." The room shifted instantly. "What?" her father snapped, standing up. "Lawyer? For what?" A.O. didn't raise his voice. He simply walked closer to the table, glancing at the documents already spread out. "For this," he said. And then, everything came out. Clear. Direct. Impossible to deny. The business legally belonged to Amara. The money earned over the years had been redirected, controlled, taken. "This is financial exploitation," A.O. explained calmly. "And also legal fraud." The words hit hard. Her mother shook her head quickly. No, you're misunderstanding. We were just managing things for her. For years." A.O. asked, his tone still steady. "Without transparency. Without consent." Silence. Then the cracks started showing. Her father turned to her mother angrily. "You handled the accounts. You said everything was fine." Her mother fired back immediately. "You told me to do it. Don't put this on me." Lindive stepped back, her voice shaking. "Wait, what does this mean? Is this true?" No one answered her. Because now, everyone was talking over each other. Blame. Excuses. Panic. The perfect image of their family started falling apart right there at the dinner table. Voices got louder. Accusations sharper. "You did this." "No, you did. I trusted you." Unity turned into chaos within minutes. And through all of it, Amara just stood there, quiet, watching. For the first time, she wasn't the one being blamed. She wasn't the one being controlled. She was the one holding the truth. And that truth was breaking them apart. The room was still messy with papers, voices, and shock, but now everything was slowing down. Amara's mother suddenly broke into tears. "We sacrificed for you," she said loudly, her voice shaking. "Everything we did was for this family, for you too." For a moment, the room went silent again. Everyone looked at Amara, waiting for her reaction. Maybe anger, maybe sadness, maybe doubt. But Amara didn't move. She looked at her mother for a long second, like she was finally seeing everything clearly for the first time. Then she spoke. Her voice was calm, not loud, not emotional, just steady. "No," she said softly. "You used me." Those words landed heavier than any shouting ever could. Her mother froze. Her father tried to speak, but nothing came out at first. Lindive just stood there, confused and shaken, like the ground under her had disappeared. A.O., the lawyer, gently placed the final set of documents on the table. "From this moment," he said, "legal proceedings will begin. Ownership will be transferred according to the law. Everything will be reviewed officially." That was it. No more hiding. No more pretending. The family that once looked strong started falling apart right there. Arguments broke out again, but weaker now. Tired. Desperate. Her father blamed her mother. Her mother blamed him. Lindive stepped away completely, like she didn't even want to be part of it anymore. The house that once felt full of control now felt empty, like something had died inside it. And Amara, she didn't join the noise. She slowly turned away from the table. No more explaining. No more begging to be seen. Her work there was done. Few weeks later, everything was different. Amara was no longer living under the same roof. She had her own small, simple place. Nothing fancy, just quiet space, clean air, no shouting, no pressure waiting for her every morning. She sat near the window one evening, looking outside as the world moved calmly around her. For the first time in her life, she wasn't tired. She wasn't invisible. She wasn't carrying everyone else's weight. She was just free. And as she sat there in peace, she finally understood something that changed everything. They thought she was just free labor. But the truth they hid from her was the one thing that set her free.